Well, good evening. I'm your host, Robert Wilson with Cowboy Wisdom. Tonight's podcast is 7 reasons why education and business unknowingly pilfers people's wealth. As I'm the pulse of my innovative understanding, unprogrammed, unwavering, and wildly alive with people skills, to ask why people are the wealth, health, and abundance of the universe. Each person is a sovereign signal of infinite wisdom. You breathe your brilliance, being though these are cosmic currencies that fuel innovation beyond any economy. And how have we become stuck in book learning and knowledge and everything's got to be inside the system of business, and we're afraid of our innovative wisdom and talents and their sleek, unique talents? Because everything is inside the books of college. Yes, there's things that go on, but really, when you get down, the fundamentals are stuck in the book learning and knowledge. And how's the world stuck in thinking, knowing, and knowledge? Afraid of life. Something I've really noticed. As the human connection is the universe's circuitry system, every smile, nowography, and spark between souls keeps the pulse of abundance flowing across the realms of seen and unseen, of pristine peace and prosperity. Connection and communication are the way forward. Business and education will keep us stuck right where we're at. But we got to get to understanding it's all an ecosystem. The communication, the connection, business, people, education, it's all an ecosystem, but it's too one-sided towards the business and education. And everybody thinks business is going to rise us to the peace and prosperity. But when you look at the world, we've been pushing business since 1960, and look where we're at. But back in the 60s, we still understood people had to have a security, and wages are the security. And actually, something people don't understand: if you send all the hourly workers home for 30 days, the world will soon shut down. It's for all you people you can send home upper management, middle management, all the business coaches, and all the personal growth, self-help world home for 30 days, and the world will still function. As we've lost the understanding that people and their abilities make the world go around. Why is business and education unrealized limitations? They scaffold certainty where curiosity should soar. We've lost the colorful curiosity of life, but we try to stay inside the railroad tracks of life. You got business and education, everybody tries to stay inside. As the pioneering prowess is outside the railroad of life. As where curiosity soars of empowering exploration, we build walls of stall of shoulds that block the pulse and the innovative growth of the world. The world panders to business, and which is good, but you also have an obligation to take care of the hourly workers and things like that. And now people are also some of the problem, but the world has overlooked the hourly worker and all the hourly workers of the world because they keep taking. But however, this is something I really want to emphasize to people. The hourly workers are the bankers of big business, because when you get a tax break, that's from the hourly workers as much as anything. We got this falsified thinking that college education, business, we give business some money, they'll take care of everything. Business is like the mountaintop. It holds the snow, but never delivers the water down. Business today is thinking it's owed everything of the people. And they think being people have jobs, that's good enough. Well, the thing is, we used to have a quality of life in this country where we could kind of relax. Now it's all high speed, no grease, and people are really uh, unsatisfied with their lives. As education and business confuse structure with wisdom, system teach systems teach system, but live veracity and sovereign creativity and energetic alignment are left off the syllabus. You got all these things here, but the thing that's left off is the people. Everybody makes fun of this and this, but it takes people. Just like in business, you got to have the janitor all the way to the CEO. Well, here in the outside world, there's things that make the world function that aren't going to fit into an educated world. As I'll tell you, we have a saying in the electrical trade: if you want to screw it up, put education in charge. And that's true. You watch somebody come in from the outside that's not lacks experience. That's a mess. Education is good, but it lacks the hands-on wisdom to do the job. How education and business have siphoned common sense, crafting robotic minds and reactive patterns. Here's an insight into how education and business have siphoned common sense, shaping robotic minds and reactive patterns. Education institutionalized abstraction over intuition. See, the world isn't intuitive. We use a computer to figure it out, and that's what it's got to be. Well, how is computers and using them for doing all of our innovative wisdom stealing from the world's common sense? Could we actually sit down and build a building or anything from scratch with just architecture plans and moving forward without CAD and all this? And we got into the BIMs and the CAD stuff. It didn't make the work jobs go faster, but you get into a BIM and then you're halfway in. We did more taking out and replacing the last 15 years than I did my first 21 years. And that's a fact. By prioritizing standard tests and scripted curricula, it trained minds to recall rather than relate, disconnecting learning from live experiences. How is everything done through computers today and AI and stuff, but we don't have that get the hands-on wisdom to move forward in life? I've heard that people are saying, do this with AI, do this. I love AI, don't get me wrong, but I keep questioning myself, where is AI taken away from getting my hands dirty wisdom? Business mechanizes values into metrics. It rewards repetition, never vibrancy, turning workers into task executors, never sovereign contributors to the outcome. And that is something I talked to a friend about today. Task executors. All they want you to do is focus on that task. They don't want to hear, and you may have a better way, but all they want is a task executor. And you sit there and they want to walk around with their nose in the air. One of the things this world has is titleocracy ends up in turdocracy. They think beings they have that title, they're really privileged. Well, sometimes that person doing the hands-on production witnesses something that computer can never show you. Why communication and connection will rise people in the world out of business business and education pilfering people's wealth. Communication cracks the conditioning of education and the third world enslaving mindsets of business. As people speak veracity in shared vibrancy, the scripted silence of systems shatters, and sovereign wealth, wisdom, and health begins to flow in a bold way. We are a flowing energy, but when we get into the thinking, we become stuck in the muck of the muddy waters of life. But we are scripted in the silence of systems. We're always in a system. You look at everything is, and something education is afraid of is wisdom. Because knowledge is never anything more than what's in a book. Connection is the currency of liberation. I love that. A friend of mine talks a lot about connection, but connection is the electric current of liberation. As real relating bypasses hierarchy, dissolves scarcity myths, and generates communal prosperity that can never be centralized or sold. See, the thing about life is all this. So, to me, this is my opinion, and that's all it is. Self-help, personal growth, self-improvement, and a lot of the educated psychology stuff is paint by numbers. Go to one, paint this color, this color. There is no innovation. It's all about business. And what I talk about is communicating with your everyday life. Cowboy wisdom in hypnoacuity is about learning to communicate with your daily life and experiences. Because if you hearken to wisdom that you encounter in the outside world, it doesn't matter a person's placement in life. Just because somebody may be going through some unsavory times, their unsavory times is free wisdom for anybody that will listen. Not to the complaining, but to what they expanded through. And see, if you're going through a tough time, it's what am I being shown? What is the wisdom? Why is this occurring to expand me? Not into why is it happening to me? Because we've been taught to be crybabies. Education pilfers wealth by rewarding repetition over vibrancy. As it teaches what and how to think, never shows people listening in question is a better way to enjoy your life of leisure. And that's something when you start thinking and knowing you're into yesterday. And education and business teaches what they want you to think, how they want you to be, but never shows people how to listen and question their way to a better way, to feel the inner joy of their life of leisure. Business pilfers wealth by monetizing identity disconnection. And see, people get into a job or anything, first thing they want to do is suck up to the boss. Whoever says they haven't, I did. But at the end of my career for the last 15 years, I didn't. And if I couldn't ever speak my how I feel or what my inner tuition informed me of, I felt uncomfortable. And today, people with titles, they have a hard time hearing anything but what's in that plan. I heard that's not in the plan, so we can't do it. Well, the plan's bland. Plans are always bland. Outlines are divine. If you make an outline, you open to the maneuverability that'll get for a higher and better outcome. Business profits when people forget their worth and outsource their value to the company. Education pilfers wealth by training minds to seek permission, never color the scenarios of their desired life. Education installs gatekeepers instead of gateways. Education is actually a limitation and closes the mind down. And that's something I really notice. Education is very closed minded, teaches pessimism and negativity. That's something I've discovered in my life. And if that's for you, that's fine. But as business pilfers wealth by selling certainty in a world that thrives on innovative risk instead. But they want to sell people on the knowledge that they have it all figured out. And what they got figured out is how to make you be obedient to their way of life. And how's that? How are we obedient to education and business and disallow our own wisdom, insight, clarity, talent, and our sleek, unique talents? Education steals wealth by scripting obedience as intelligence and as wisdom. That's something I can really relate to because education, we was always taught to answer a question the way the teacher wanted it or how anybody wanted it. So we was always obedient, trying to fit into the teacher's way of life. How does everybody try to fit into the teacher's way of life, and when you don't, you get in trouble? Oh, I know that one by heart. I was pretty good at getting in trouble, as innocent as I am. That's kind of not the truth. I was ornery, mischievous. As education trades curiosity for conformity, turning sovereign insight into standardized output. And that's what education and business is. It's a standardized output. And all these, I listen to a lot of tapes and stuff. When I get into, and something I've learned from watching marketers and things, they're all the same. They try to act like they're really something, but they're all the same. And this is what marketers and them do. Marketers' business steals wealth by monetizing dependence. It sells solutions to the problems business marketers and they perpetuate. Keeping people in cycles of consumption instead of innovation. Innovation steals the wealth of the world, as education steals wealth by mistaking memorization for mastery. It teaches answers, disallowing current inquiry, leaving people rich in facts, yet poor of sovereign sourced wisdom. That is probably the most uh, uh, liberating thing I've read. As education and business teaches answers, disallowing inquiry, leaving people rich in facts, but poor of sovereign sourced wisdom. Business steals wealth by rewarding productivity over presence. It values outputs over essence, draining vitality in pursuit of metrics that never nourish the soul. Why are people the profit makers for business? People are the pulse because people are the pulse behind every product. Business never creates wealth. Human ingenuity, energy, and emotion do. The spreadsheet just rides the wave of of ingenuity, energy, emotion, and and production. Production creates wealth. Management dissipates wealth. The wisdom of a company is in the worker. The dissipation of wealth is in the management. As profit flows from presence, never just process. Every sales system and solution is fueled by someone's insight, effort, or interaction. People are the spark, never the surplus. People are the spark of health, wealth, and success, never the surplus. While education and business have pilfered the common sense of people, creating robotic mechanical thinking and knowing. Because education prizes itself on replication over intuition by rehearsing routines instead of novelty. Systems replaced by knowing with formalized doing. That's the way it is because you come to work and you basically do a robotic thing for 10 hours. And they never want to move people around because they have the robotic thing going. And that's one thing I've noticed about a lot of things in my life. We get into a lot of robotic things. They wired expertise into echo chambers. Common sense gets drowned out by credentials, while programmed minds repeat protocols without presence. And that's what they do. They try to program the mind and take away everything else. How education and business mindsets craft cognitive recollection loops, mindset resistant, comfort zone programming rooted in scarcity and poverty consciousness. They teach recall, never hearken to here and now revelations that flow through you. Knowledge becomes a recycled echo, never a sovereign signal. That's the thing about knowledge is books and what other people want you to know. Comfort is coded as success. Disruption is discouraged even when it's the doorway to health, wealth, fun, and fun of the sun's splendor. Scarcity is institutionalized as realism. Abundance is dismissed as naive, keeping minds tethered to lack. How has that happened in your life? It's happened in my life. And I have to admit, probably still is, but I got to be willing to go deeper into myself to release myself from my self-taught poverty consciousness. Everything that's holding you back in life is self-taught. And it's really socialized brainwashing, a lot of this is. Poverty consciousness is ritualized through hierarchy and thinking that they are somebody special, but what they've literally learned to do is manipulate people. Because we're taught to build ladders and climb ladders instead of building landscape of leisure, fun of the sun's splendor. Mindset resistance is mistaken for discipline. Obedience is praised while intuitive innovation is categorized by unruly, and you're out of line of the systemized stuff of their system. You know, the thing about it is, how indoctrinated education and enslaving business mindset engineer mechanical cognition and stifle sovereign response. They manufacture mental muscle memory. See, that's the thing about being a puppet. It's a muscle memory, a mental muscle memory. Who says they ain't got one? They're BSing. It's never scenarios of mastery of your own sleek, unique talents. Systematic representation replaces intuitive reflection. You react on autopilot instead of respond in presence. How do you react when something's unsavory? You get frustrated and mad. Oh, I was a professional at that. But when you respond in fond, your presence is there and intuitive to what is going on. As business and education script success into algorithms of agreement, original thought gets filtered through compliance protocols. Does that ever happen to you? Original thought gets filtered through compliance protocols, dulling the spark that bursts innovation. That's something I've really have overcome in my life. And I haven't overcome it. I'm getting way better at doing it. And that's something that I really understand. Why low wages and high management wages pilfers health, wealth, and prosperity from the people. Low wages extract energy without honoring essence. They commodify labor while starving the soul, turning vitality into burnout. They trade life force for survival math. Your brilliance becomes a budget line measured, never magnified. They reward endurance, never emergence of your talents. You're paid to persist, never to pulse with a purpose. How do you feel that is played out in the world today? That's a big time in the world today. High management wages inflate hierarchy at the cost of harmony. They concentrate wealth into echo chambers, severing the flow from the collective field of people and their workforce and all that. They build pyramids of power instead of circles of collaboration. You ever been where the hierarchy sits in the high office and everything out, and they very seldom come out and want to listen to the workforce? Wealth rises as wisdom. Wealth rises to the top as wisdom gets buried beneath the tiles. They reward position over presence. The higher the pay, the louder the illusion, and the quieter the collective veracity. You know, that's something I really understand. Why business management, college education, egotistical arrogance, know-it-all ignorance turn their nose up at the autodidacts. That's a workforce or self-educated and worldly workforce. They mistake credentials for consciousness. It's never stamped or sanctioned. They assume it's subpar, ignoring experience as mastery. They worship theory while fearing the terrain of the innovation of the workforce. Autodidacts walk the wild path. Institutions cling to maps they drew in their ivory towers. And see, that's the thing I really understand about all this. Business and education is never going to take you anywhere. Your innovation, natural talents, and being communicative and connection. Your communication and connecting your talents with other people's talents will rise you to your liminal carpet glide. I am Robert A. Wilson with Cowboy Wisdom Hypno Acuity, and we'll be here Thursday night with another podcast. Thank you and good night.